From restaurants to family kitchens, on every corner of the planet, fish is a staple that feeds and nourishes millions of people every day. It's one of the world's most valuable and most sought-after resources. But the men and women who earn their livelihoods from the sea know that getting fish to the market is rewarding, but often quite challenging work.
We do 6-hour shifts. If you have a problem but you don't want to disturb a shipmate who's sleeping, there's always a sailor on call who stays awake. Here we're like a family.
It's a good job on the boat. I've worked for 4 years, and everything has been fine for me.
Nearly 55 million people around the world work in the fishing industry. Nearly 40 million work on board fishing vessels, working inland waters or at sea. There is incredible diversity in the size and types of fishing vessels in the industry, from very large deep-sea vessels to coastal vessels to very small boats. However, most of the world's fishing vessels are small, less than 24 meters long. But no matter what the size of their vessel, their nationality, or in which waters they fish, the world's fishermen, or fishers as they are known, have a lot of things in common at work.
We have to be careful when we are walking on the boat, because it's slippery.
We have to be careful when we are working, and make sure no one's leg is stuck in the net. Otherwise, when we throw the net, someone can drown.
At sea, the work is really hard. It's very dangerous, and you need to be careful.
Fishing is a demanding and often hazardous way to earn a living. The hours are long. The marine environment is hard on everyone. Potentially dangerous machinery is everywhere, and with it, the threat of serious injury, even death.
There are always small and big accidents on board. We've had them on this boat. In fact, we lost a friend. That's life.
And a fisher's life can be isolated. Many fishers spend long periods at sea, away from home and family.
Sometimes when I talk to my friends, I tell them I miss my home. I want to go back. I miss my mum and dad.
Beyond the day-to-day demands of the job, some of the world's fishers experience unpaid wages, unsanitary conditions, dangerous working environments, and unsafe vessels. Forced and even child labor are unfortunate realities in some of the world's fisheries today. Globalization and new technologies have increased the demands on fishers, and in some cases have increased the risks on board. The changes in the fishing industry have created a need for standards that apply worldwide, standards that recognize the unique nature of the fishing sector while ensuring fishers have protection, at least equivalent to people working in other occupations. In 2007, at the 96th International Labor Conference, the ILO responded by adopting the Work in Fishing Convention number 188, designed to ensure that the world's commercial fishers have decent working conditions on board fishing vessels. The convention spells out specific minimum requirements for work on board, conditions of service, accommodation and food, occupational safety and health protection, medical care, and social security. For example, it provides that fishers should have a clear agreement setting out not only their responsibilities, but those of the fishing vessel owners. The convention also calls for the inspection of fishing vessels. In Spain, a maritime inspector, a labor inspector, and a doctor have boarded a fishing vessel in port.
Hola, buenos días. Soy Patricia Samamez, inspectora de trabajo. ¿Cómo se llama la empresa?
Their inspection is a joint initiative led by the Ministry of Public Works and Transport and the Ministry of Employment and Social Security. Fishing vessel owners say inspections like this make vessels safer and better places to work.
Sí, las inspecciones de trabajo
Labor inspections are good, both for the crew and for the company. If an accident happens, there are consequences, not only for the victim, but for the employers as well. Labor inspections benefit us. We care that our vessels are respecting safety standards.
Las bombillas, todas las luminarias, que tengan carcasa, que esté accesible.
The labor inspector checks not only where the crew works, but where they sleep, eat, and relax.
Tiene apertura interior.
The inspector checks where the food is prepared and where it is stored. The medical stores. Documentation for the crew. Everything to do with a fisher's living and working conditions on board.
Today, in terms of safety, I think everything is covered. We have a system for evacuation of the ship, fire safety procedures. Everyone has their own life vest and helmet. I think how we are handling safety is good.
For many of the owners of Spain's fishing vessels, there is a clear need for the workplace standards set out in Convention 188, not only locally, but around the world.
Se puede utilizar este convenio para buscar el objetivo.
We can use this convention to reach our goal, which is to encourage those countries that lag behind in implementing social and labour rights to get on board with us, so that they can join the trend of improving the safety and working conditions on board vessels. I think it's essential.
De mejorar las condiciones de seguridad y las condiciones laborales a bordo de los buques. Creo que esto es esencial.
Workers' organizations agree. Luz Abella is an inspector for the International Transport Workers Federation.
Pues yo creo que el convenio 188
Convention 188 is necessary because sustainable fishing has to go hand in hand with humane fishing. We talk a lot about environmental rights, but don't forget there are human beings on board those vessels.
medioambientales, pero nos olvidamos que en esos barcos van seres humanos.
More than 8 out of 10 of the world's fishers are in Asia. The fundamentals behind Convention 188 are strongly supported by the owners of Thailand's fishing vessels.
It is necessary to follow this because we can't afford to fish without rules or regulations anymore. When we comply with Convention 188, it improves our fisheries in a positive way, and that helps improve the international standard of our fishing industry.
The standards set out in the convention can be a distinct advantage for vessel owners to attract new recruits and retain old hands. The safety and health provisions could cut costs since fewer injuries will increase productivity. The convention also gives national governments a reference point for the drafting and developing of national legislation and policies on commercial fishing.
ILO Convention 188 on working fishing is a very useful reference point for setting standards on working fishing. It's been useful for us in our discussions with the Thai government and Thai industry in revising the ministerial regulation on working fishing, also working with the industry on drafting a code of conduct and developing good labor practice guidelines.
The fishers themselves recognize that standards are not only important, but necessary in a globalized world.
I think it is a good idea to have a system for someone to take responsibility for everything when we work.
The convention is also a valuable tool to prevent or address some of the most unacceptable forms of work, such as the use of forced labor and child labor. While Convention 188 is firm on principles, there is flexibility in the implementation to take into account the global diversity of fishing operations and the capacity of individual countries. A global industry requires a global standard. Convention 188 is a landmark in the fishing sector. It will change the lives of fishers everywhere, guaranteeing a safer and decent workplace for the millions of people who provide a vital source of the world's food.